Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Can You Beat Pokemon Red with a Single Weedle? In episode 1, we were forced to grind our Weedle all the way to level 25 to finally get the Boulder Badge. I knew going into this series that getting past Brock was going to be a huge roadblock, and it may have taken a full episode, but now we can finally make some progress. Not sure about you, but I'm ready to see what sort of progress we can make, so let's get to it. So now that we've beaten Brock and we finally have some money, we can hit the Pokemart for some supplies. We have quite a few trainer battles coming up as well as Mount Moon, so I buy a few Pokeballs to catch our HM users, and a handful of potions and a couple Paralyze Heal just in case, and then we make our way out east for a few required battles. I'll show a couple of these battles, but we're just so over leveled right now, so there's not much to say. The Pokemon we're fighting against right now are around level 10, so our 15 level advantage is more than enough to make them a breeze. It is nice to not have to run to a Pokemon Center right after every battle though. I know this level gap isn't going to last forever, but it feels good to just be able to make progress. After we make our way through the group of trainers on the way to Mount Moon, I hit a small patch of grass to catch a Spearow. I specifically want Spearow so we can trade it for Dux the Farfetch'd in Vermilion City. Dux is useful because he can learn both Cut and Fly, so it saves us from having to catch a second Pokemon. We catch our Spearow on the second Pokeball and head north to the Pokemon Center before Mount Moon. I put Spearow in the PC for now as we don't need him for a little bit, and now it's time to get into Mount Moon. Mount Moon is always rough simply because we don't have access to repels yet, so we have to run away from wild battles. I mean, I suppose you could fight some of them for experience, but the Pokemon in Mount Moon are really not good matchups for Weedle. There's Wild Geodude and Zubat mostly, with an emphasis on Zubat. Geodude is a really bad matchup because, did you watch the last video? But Zubat is surprisingly horrible. So we're gonna run from them, and there's really only a couple necessary battles in Mount Moon, so let's fast forward to the Rocket Grunt fight. He leads off with Rattata, and Rattata is no issue, but his Zubat certainly is. Rattata's gonna get a couple hits in with either Quick Attack or Tackle, but doesn't pose a real threat. Now let's keep in mind that his Zubat is level 13, and Weedle's level 26 right now. Even though we double his Zubat's level, he really exposes our weaknesses. For starters, we really don't want to be confused. Weedle's defense is far too low, so we can do some pretty decent damage to ourselves. Zubat is also one of those Pokemon that we can't poison, so we're stuck doing slivers of damage at a time, but even that damage can be negated by Zubat by using Leech Life, which is super effective against us and also heals him. I'm not sure if this is a surprise or not, but we actually lost the first attempt. The second attempt, however, goes better, but really only because we had better confusion luck. We only hit ourselves one time, but the reason I'm spending so much time on this battle in particular is because this is going to come up frequently throughout the run. Not with just Zubat, but Pokemon where we just have a really bad matchup against. Now, when I say bad matchup, it's not just like a type advantage thing. It really gets exacerbated with Weedle, and you'll see it in this episode and probably all the future ones. And we're going to see another example of one of those Pokemon right away with the Super Nerd. Grimer is another Pokemon that we can't poison, and although he doesn't have super scary attacks, he does have Disable. If he were to disable our Poison Sting, we would be stuck using String Shot, which doesn't do any damage until his Disable wears off. He does hit us with Disable, but luckily it disables String Shot, so there's really a 50-50 chance that this fight could go poorly. Voltorb doesn't pose much of a threat directly, but it does lower our defense a couple stages for his last Pokemon, which is Coughing. Now, Coughing is another Pokemon that can't be poisoned, and because of our defense being dropped a ton, he hits us super hard. We're actually forced to use a potion just to make it through the fight. And Coughing is only level 12 compared to our Weedle, which is at 26, so I guess that huge level gap isn't really as useful as I had hoped. As we grab the Helix Fossil, I think it's time to talk about the amazing music in this video. I've partnered with Mama Symphonia, who made an absolutely incredible Pokemon Red and Blue Symphony arrangement. All of their links are in the description below, but you should really do yourself a favor and check them out. I had to tone the music down for my voiceover, but you should really go grab some really nice headphones and take a nostalgia trip as soon as you finish this video. Okay, back to the run. Once we make it out of Mount Moon, I decide to see how we stack up against our rival. His Pidgey is now evolved into Pidgeotto and is at level 18. We don't even stand a chance. Looks like we're at another brick wall already, and this is a really bad place to hit a wall. We don't really have many options at this point. We can either go train in the one patch of grass that's available to use, hope to get lucky against the rival, or go fight the trainers in Misty's gym. I chose the last option. The first trainer in her gym doesn't really do much. We get early poisons on both of his Pokemon and we're able to knock them out in a few turns each. The second trainer, however, with only a level 19 Goldeen, was definitely a close call. I could see us actually losing this battle. We get a couple defense drops, take a brutal peck, and hit ourselves in confusion, which hits harder with our lower defense, but we squeak out a win and level up to level 27. With one more level under our belt, let's see how we stack up against the rival this time. We were able to get past Pidgeotto, but with very low HP. Luckily his next Pokemon is Abra, which doesn't attack, so I use that as an opportunity to heal. After that is Rattata, and it will do a little bit of damage, but we're still in good shape for Charmander. However, Charmander knows Ember now, which is super effective against us, and he wipes us out after a few turns. Okay, so we're definitely at a little bit of a brick wall, but it's far better than the Brock situation. Now, if you remember from last episode, we're going to use the same strategy and we're just going to fight our rival over and over, because as long as we get past Pidgeotto, we're guaranteed to knock out at least 2 of his Pokemon and most likely his Rattata as well, so this is by far the best option to level up. I mean, we really don't have another option because there's no way we're going to beat Misty right now. I expected to at least have to grind a couple levels, but surprisingly, it didn't take super long. Before even getting to level 28, we get a run where his Pidgeotto sand attacks us twice and knocks us down to half HP. And of course, Abra can attack, and then his Rattata hits us pretty hard and gets us to red health, but we level up to 28 for his Charmander, and it just simply doesn't use Ember. It uses Growl, Leer, gets us all the way down to 3 health, but we get super lucky and get the win. Honestly, at this point, I'll just take it. We're gonna have to get the win at some point, so why not right now? Nugget Bridge and the route to Bill's house is rather uneventful. It's not fun by any means. Most of the trainers have Pokemon that can't be poisoned, a few sand attacking Pidgeys, and a couple Zubats, but nothing worth really going over, but I'll just say that it was pretty annoying. We're gonna skip ahead to Vermilion for now, and no, we don't have to fight Misty just yet, so we're gonna go ahead and wait and come back when we're at a higher level. When I get to Vermilion, I trade Spearow for Dux the Farfetch'd and head to the SS Anne. There's only one mandatory battle on the SS Anne, but that's the third rival fight. We are at level 30 now, so let's see how we stack up. His Pidgeotto is only at level 19, and it takes a few attacks per usual, but we knock it out pretty quickly. It looks like his Rattata has now evolved into Eradicate, and it does a lot more damage now. We do get past it, but not without taking a couple attacks. And in other bad news, his Abra has now evolved into Kadabra, so if it uses a psychic move, we're done for. We got lucky and it didn't use anything psychic, but all of that was for nothing as his Charmeleon wipes us out pretty quick. This rival has some really bad matchups for us. I try again and his Pidgeotto just absolutely destroys us. Looks like the first one was probably a best case scenario, so here we are at a wall again thanks to our rival. Now this particular area of the game kinda sucks for Weedle training. The SS Anne has a decent amount of trainers, but there's also a lot of fire Pokemon. I started by training in the area east of Vermilion, but there's a lot of bad matchups there as well because we're starting to see more psychic Pokemon. I mean, we could beat them, but is it worth the amount of extra time for all the resets? So I end up sort of picking and choosing who we're gonna fight in both areas, and by the time that's all said and done, we're at level 33 and should be strong enough to at least train on the rival until we can beat him. I'm gonna run through some rival attempts because watching me go shopping I don't think is super exciting, but it is important to note that when we're using this strategy to train up or we're just going to be losing a lot of battles, it's really important that you understand that when you lose these battles you're going to be losing a ton of money, and right now we don't want that and we can't really afford that. We need money. So it's important to kind of keep all your money in assets, so to speak. So if you have nuggets that you found, TMs, anything that you can sell, you're going to want to hold on to them until you actually need the money and then spend all the money that you have, or you're just going to lose it all as you continue to lose to the rival or whoever you're training against. So for now, I mostly just buy potions, and we're going to need a few repels later, so I buy those as well, but just keep in mind that you don't want to actually have money when you're using this strategy. Oh, these rival fights are brutal. Pidgeotto is rough. If we get sand attacked more than twice, I just reset, but if he doesn't use sand attack, then he's damaging us, which really isn't great either. Eradicate always hits us a couple times before we can knock it out, and then his last two Pokemon both have super effective moves against us. Once we finally hit level 40, I just assumed we could survive an Ember at least and be able to heal, and I was right, but it was still really close. I knew we were going to have to level up, but I didn't think we would have to get all the way to level 40 just to beat the rival. After the battle, we can rub the captain and get the HM for Cut. We can't use Cut outside of battle until we beat Misty, so it's time to go do that. At level 40, Misty isn't too bad. Her Staryu goes down without doing much damage. I was a little nervous about how much damage Starmie was going to do with Bubble Beam, and I was actually surprised at how little it turned out to be. Definitely the right choice to save this battle for as late as possible. It does take a little bit of time with our puny Weedle, but we do get the Cascade badge, and I think we can do one more gym before we call it quits for this episode, so let's head back to Vermilion and see what Lieutenant Surge has in store for us. Lieutenant Surge leads off with Voltorb. Voltorb's Sonic Boom is kinda rough for us since it does 20 damage no matter what. We end up taking a couple of those, and once we knock it out, he sends out Pikachu, but Pikachu actually doesn't have the best stats. We take it out pretty quickly and don't take much damage in return, which is key. The real concern here though is Raichu, and more specifically Thunderbolt. Raichu uses Thundershock a couple times, Lieutenant Surge boosts Raichu's speed with an X speed, but we never actually see a Thunderbolt, so it's a first try victory for us. I think we've made a ton of progress in this episode. We got 2 more badges, bringing the total up to 3. We defeated the rival twice, and we got Weedle all the way to level 40. Definitely better than grinding in Viridian Forest for 6 hours. Now, if you've missed last week's episode, be sure to check it out, and if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe so I can keep making it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week for episode 3. Peace.